Good evening. I want to welcome you this evening to Words for the Soul. I am Overseer Emma Alexander, and this handsome man sitting next to me is Bishop Trevor Alexander, and we have a phenomenal guest on tonight, and we will be giving her opportunity to introduce herself. We're going to go ahead and like, tag, and share. Waiting. I need to make sure I turn my phone down.
Well, you're not
For
live
one
yet.
thing,
You're not live yet.
I don't know why my phone is not turning down though.
There you go.
Okay, there it goes. We're not live yet. Yes, we're live now.
Okay, now
That's
Okay.
okay. That's
And
that's okay.
here we go.
so let me so I can share our page and give every persons to join. It's been a beautiful, beautiful day, and we're so glad for you to have joined us. Join us now. Join us now. If you have opportunity to go ahead and like, tag, and share, I have just done that, and we're so excited. Words for the soul come to uplift, to encourage you, to let you know that you're chosen, that God has a plan for your life. And we have just been talking about relevant topics and issues. And this month at the church, we're focusing on the family. And what a better time since November is National Family Caregivers Month.
Now, it's interesting. I didn't know that was a thing,
Right?
right? But we started focus on the family 28 years ago.
Yeah.
So we were actually being right in line.
We're in line. We're in line.
alignment.
We are in alignment.
Mhm.
Praise God for being in alignment.
Our theme for this year is alignment. So we were in alignment when we didn't know we were in alignment.
But we're so glad for you to be with us on today.
Lorraine is on.
Huh?
Lorraine.
Hey, Lorraine, thank you for joining us this evening.
Donna.
Donna, thank you for joining us. Donna, Miss Velma. Yeah, it's going to be wonderful. Go ahead and like, tag, and share. I need to let Dr. Donnie know we're on talking about caregivers. Let's share. And we're so excited. Bishop, want to say something before we have Miss Ayana speak?
Something.
Something?
Okay.
Yes, you're so fabulous like that.
Well, I want to say thank you for those who are joining. I actually enjoy looking as we do November. Let's focus on the family month as we deal with issues that are affecting family.
Mhm.
And so this is our first Sunday,
Mhm.
and we have a wonderful guest who is a friend of Donna Costa. So we're looking forward to a great discussion on tonight,
All right.
and a very interesting topic I shared this morning in church, that the church is facing so many challenges. The church, not just the body of Christ.
Christ, yeah.
And being a boomer, old gentleman, our generation is getting older and facing many health challenges. And now we're seeing the result of the older generation needing care.
Mm-hmm.
And that's an important topic that I don't think too many churches are really looking at addressing
Mhm.
as we are getting older. And I'm just thinking about different pastors that I know
Mhm.
who are facing health challenges, and those children are taking care of them while they're trying to take care of the congregation. So I think it's a wonderful topic. So yeah.
Before you go on, Sammy, I'm glad you're here. Thank you for being here, Sister Irene. Good evening to you. Lorraine Eunice, thank you for joining.
Pastor Yusuf Grant.
I was looking up something real quick from National Caregivers Month. It says November is the time to show support and to honor our nation's vital caregiving during National Family Caregivers Month. It says they honor their families who are often caregiving around the clock. That means around the clock dedication, organization, responsibility, scheduling, and hands-on care. Families are often primary source of support for older adults and people with disabilities. In fact, today in America, more than 53 million family caregivers provide unpaid care. That's an economic value totaling more than $470 billion of care. So we're so excited this evening as we're going to move forward. If we had not had a chance to like, tag, and share and do that, Ayana, she's been a caregiver for her mom for some from far away and must come with its own sets of challenges. So before you share that, Ayana, would you tell us a little bit about yourself, and can you share some of the experiences that you've had with your mom emotionally and practically?
Absolutely. And thank you for having me.
Yes,
A few things,
ma'am.
yes, a few things about me before I get into the mom story is like you said, I am a long distance caregiver. So I'm here in Texas while she is in New York. I am the eldest in this family of immigrants. Eldest daughters might attest to some of those responsibilities. And I'm also happily married. I have my own kids. We're actually empty nesters now. Like I was telling you earlier, I'm a veteran. I'm married to a veteran. So this life is pretty rich. It's pretty there's a lot of things going on. On top of that, I am currently in my last, please God, month of school to become a counselor.
All right.
So
Congratulations.
thank you very much. So since my friend Donna is the one who got me on here, this is her finding out now that I actually on Wednesday took the national exam and I passed. Hence why I'm calling myself an LPC associate in advance of
Well, yeah,
graduation.
yeah. You claim that you passed that test. Yes.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Definitely by the grace of God, because I mean that was rough. It was rough. Oh my goodness. Okay, so how in the world did I get here? Like I said, I'm the eldest. I got a phone call last August 2023. Boy, riding down the 410, got a call from the hospital. They asked me to pull over, so I did. And to make a long story short, mom had been in and out of the hospital. Thank you, Donna. Been in and out of the hospital. She's actually a cancer survivor.
Mm.
So, of course, even during COVID, she was busy going through the chemo. She was going through that. She was going through heart issues, and she was supposed to, I thought, be in recovery.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, she's back in and out of the hospital. The reconstructive surgery that she needed to remove one of the medical, I'll say implants. I'm trying not to be too detailed in a negative way, but she had ovarian cancer, so that requires surgeries.
Correct. Yeah.
Well, I guess she never fully recovered, so she ended up getting sick, and of course, not knowing about it. So she was dealing with sepsis. She was dealing with all kind of infections, and brought her in and out of the hospital. The phone call that I received happened to be from palliative care. Now, I don't know if you've ever heard of that term before, but I did not know what in the world that meant. So for those of us who are listening and don't know it either, palliative care is the department in which deals with the end of life care.
Yeah.
And they called me, even though my siblings are there in New York, because they had concerns in a different manner.
Mm-hmm.
They were concerned that the relationships with my siblings and between my siblings was having a negative impact on my mom's health.
Mm-hmm.
And so on her behalf, they were calling to see if I would intervene. I did not know at the time that mom had already changed paperwork to make me her health proxy.
Okay.
So what happened after that was pretty much I dropped what I was doing, trying to be that good daughter. So I'm in school. Like I said, I'm married. Thank goodness I wasn't working full time, but I throughout the city, I'm known as a speaker. I do facilitate workshops. I do coaching. I am a certified mental health peer specialist, but I dropped all of that, canceled whatever I had going on, and went there because I was just told that my mom was going to pass in 6 months or less because she was now in hospice.
Right.
When I went to go to the hospital to see her, they told me it wouldn't even be that long because she was so septic with her liver that they were now concerned about her liver. So one by one, just different body parts started failing.
Mm-hmm.
Still, mom chose to stay in New York City. This was, again, I didn't know the extent to where she is now. Now she has significant cognitive decline. She can barely speak.
Okay.
When she does, it's really garbled. But at the time, she was still seemingly making decisions. That's that's how I found out. Again, I'm now the proxy. No conversation was made with me about it, but that's what it was. I go there pretty much with the intention of watching her pass. in her home. So I was there to get trained on it by the palliative care team. I'm getting all these different remarks, and they're getting me ready for the mental anguish that I'm about to witness as I take her home for what they thought would be in a couple of weeks. Well, it is now November of 2024, so it's been over a year since that day.
Ooh, glory. Man.
Yeah, I mean, and please forgive me for being well. If Donna will tell, I'm extremely honest. There are definite pros and cons to this. I wish I could tell you this was some Hallmark video or soul food type of great story in which people come together, but it was not. It was not like that at all for us.
Mhm.
My family was already very complicated, pretty dysfunctional, and the truth is, my mom did tell me before she couldn't speak anymore. She really thought that this would bring us all together.
Mm, okay.
Yeah. So that was how that started for me. And like I said, I pretty much moved in. My husband was standing by his phone, waiting to know when he needed to tell his boss he had to leave. And I ended up staying with her for about 3 months before I had to make the decision to take her to a residential care facility.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Let's go to our next question. Thank you for sharing that. It's just, I'm just listening. It is not easy.
No.
Just being in that place and hearing that and getting that news. Did you want to say something before?
Well, I think that's you really raise another issue there that I don't know. Sometimes when families are not on the same sheet of music,
Right.
it really pushes the one that has to make the decisions, right? If you, I don't know how many siblings you have, but I don't care if you're just one sibling, you still have to really try and put forth a unified front.
Right.
And when one sibling is wanting to do something completely different, I was actually thinking when Mama passed, your mother, when Mo was a little bit different from the wishes that Mama wanted. Mo wanted to go something different, and that you were charged to hold true to what Mama wanted, and that started some conflict as well. So siblings coming together is really one another. In my opinion, one of the keys to making long-term care work. Not just financially is maybe one ways. That's one way, but emotional support to one another.
Yeah.
When there's friction, it makes it even harder emotionally and physically, because that has a toll on your own physical health.
Yes, it does.
Yeah. So anyway, I just thought that's interesting. You mentioned the word dysfunctional family, and I thought, I don't know which families are actually functional, but
Most families are truly have some dysfunction in them. Yeah, they do.
Some do deal with it better than others. Maybe it's yeah.
All right.
Absolutely.
Let me ask you this. Go ahead, Tanya. This caregiving journey has likely changed you in some profound ways. What have you learned about yourself and your relationship with your mom throughout this experience?
So much, and I'm still learning, to be honest with you. Well, first of all, I didn't even know what a long distance caregiver was. Whatever conversation there was, it was, I expect you to take care of me. I think that was the most I ever heard her speak about anything. Or when we talked about it, maybe in a conversation, something to that effect. So what I didn't know, and I even just made a list of what long distance caregiving has meant for me, what it looks like. I receive most of her mail to this day. I had to change her mailing address. I assist with paying her bills, managing insurance claims. I have an entire, I'm looking at this whole file cabinet I have just for her stuff. Fighting with creditors, turning off her utilities. And I will say that for anybody listening, I highly recommend not doing business with ADT if you do not have to. And I did not, of course, we did not know until we had to do this, but I didn't realize, who knew, just how harmful they were for seniors. But I found out the hard way. Researching care options, attending meetings. To this day, sometimes I have to make sure that they're doing my lunch break. So we're in different time zones. I'm in a meeting for my mom.
Mhm.
Finding realtors when we had to sell her home. That's part of the story. Coordinating her funeral trust and the arrangements.
Wow.
Doing pop-up visits. Before last semester, I was going there between every 6 to 8 weeks.
Yeah.
Arranging check-ins with her friends, and an advocate that I finally found to help me. Uh, Being there, my phone number is is so old, but I can't change it because it's the only phone number that my mom remembers.
Okay.
So ever so often, she gets up and she calls me, and so it could be 1 o'clock in the morning. It could be during work time. Either way, I don't, what do I do? But keep the phone number, the one phone number that she remembers.
Right.
Coordinating outside medical appointments and her surgery attempts. So
Mm.
it really brought to light the what it is to be a first daughter, especially a first generation American daughter, and those
Okay.
expectations. And of course, some people also mention eldest daughter syndrome, but I
Mhm.
don't have the resentment towards my siblings because I realize that everybody has a different size cup
Right.
to do. And as the eldest, I guess my cup is just way bigger than everybody else's. My gallon, mine is, I got the gallon, right? And
I
I
hear you. Yeah.
right. I'm the one who has real estate. I'm the one who does know how to multitask. I'm the one, and it just ended up being me. Um, I realized that I was not healed when I got involved as being mom's caregiver. Yes, I've moved away and I had my marriage. I'm very happy in it, but there were some things that she would say that it would really almost affect me physically. And I
Mm.
know she really didn't mean any harm, but I don't think there's sometimes, and of course, I can't even know if it's really her or the disease, but
Right.
she would say certain things. I don't want to be far away from my son. I don't want to put too much on my son.
Mhm.
I remember I ended up going to the hospital myself. The stress had me in pain and things like that. So one, I had to make sure that I was staying at the same hospital she was at, just in case they called me and
Right.
they needed to do something for her.
Yeah.
And I remember going to her room after that and she being annoyed that I was the one who came and not her son.
Mm.
And she would say things like that. And then for me to always have to be the one to stop, not take it personally. Don't let this hurt you. It did bring up that intense feeling of responsibility, that being an overachiever, that superwoman thing that I realized how much I don't want anymore.
Mm. That's good.
You know,
That's
I just don't want to anymore. I don't, it's just, it was too much. So you talked about those physical
good. Mhm.
issues. Oh yes, like I said, I ended up in the hospital for observation. I was okay. I broke a tooth and I
Mm.
came home from taking care of her with high blood pressure.
Wow.
So again, the biggest thing I got from that was, again, disasters do not fix family dynamics,
Not all the
but
time. Yeah.
they magnify them.
You
And
know,
go ahead.
well, go ahead. You start.
As you were thinking, I was just thinking about the oldest, the daughter, and the responsibility that comes. We have three girls. And when
Mhm.
I was going through cancer, my husband was my caregiver. My daughter, as the oldest, took responsibility. She felt that was her role, and she stood up and she cooked and helped the girls and made sure things were done. And there's a, a a thing that comes with the oldest one. But as you were talking and was sharing, I know there's other people who are caregivers, and I shout out to those who do that. My sister cared for my father um, for years before he passed on. In doing so, it is so important. Matter of fact, I even printed out some things. Yeah, that we as caregivers and those who are taking care of that, you got to make sure you spend time for yourself, because
Mhm.
you said how your blood pressure got up and stuff. And I'm sure we're going to be talking about that later. But just for acknowledging that and seeing that, because it's not always an easy task to maneuver or to do. So go ahead.
Mhm.
Well, I hope Donna schooled you that we have questions that we may not get to all of them because you raised two issues that I heard coming out of there. And one of them I can resonate to personally. I am the youngest boy of three. So I got three older brothers, and then there's my baby sister. So you talked about, the superwoman syndrome.
Yeah.
I have the Superman syndrome of always trying to seek approval from my family, which I never got. Right. I came close in 2019 when I became a bishop. I think that's the closest I ever got any recognition. All the accolades I've had in my lifetime, I've never gotten any congratulations. So I've always seek that affirmation.
Yeah.
But you raised a point that my number 3 brother is my mother's favorite. Ain't no doubt about it. Right. There's no doubt about it. And now she has Alzheimer's, and there's not a conversation that don't go by that she doesn't raise his name. Right. And I am not mad like you. I'm not mad at him. And we were actually having this conversation today driving home from church. I am not mad at him one bit. It is not his fault. He just, it is what it is. And part of my journey into this new thing that the Lord has me in is really accepting some things in life, right? I'm 64, knocking on 65. And I'm now coming to a place in my life where I have to accept what is really is. I wrote some narratives in my life, some life narratives that were not true. I'm now thinking, now rewriting those narratives to the reality of what it is. And so a couple months ago in prayer, I was struggling with some areas, and the Lord said, your mama can't become a better mother now, because she can't give you the answers I'm looking for, but you can become a better son. Yeah. And so I'm now on a journey of becoming a better son. That means letting go of some stuff, those painful areas in my life. I'm slowly releasing it, so I can now regain this task of becoming a better son. So I understand seeking affirmation. When you don't get it, now you have to come up with something else, right?
Yep, you do. Absolutely.
Thank you for sharing, both of y'all. Thank y'all.
Thank you. Yeah.
All right.
I was going to talk about how you released your power. Don't get away, keep going.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Pastor Sheila, for being on. And Tanya, let me get the next one. Just releasing, just allowing things to take place.
Let me the dynamics with my wife and her sister, her youngest sister. Mo can be what's the word I want to use?
She's the primary caregiver.
She's the primary caregiver, but at the same time, I believe that some areas she overstepped because I don't think you have to ask permission to go home to see your dad. I'm just saying, right? So there's something dynamics that comes up in family where you have to be able to navigate those choppy waters.
You have to.
Yeah.
I think it comes from the expectations about what people can do, what they can allow. I've heard somebody, a family member said, well, you have that big house. Why don't you just fill in the blank? Yeah. But I just told you that my mom refused to leave. So where's the where the instructions on, what am I supposed to do? Kidnap her? Let's be real. Do you really want to
do not to like to leave from where they're from?
Exactly. What do you think it would be like to live with someone who does not want to live with you?
Yes.
That is not easy.
Let's be real. That's not going to work well for anybody. And like I said, I'm happily married. I want to stay happily married, right? As far as a moment where I felt unexpected strength was going to make her funeral arrangements. Again, this was at the time where I really thought that I was told she would be gone in a few weeks. So I remember I did have to ask somebody to come and watch her for me. And it was New York, so I walked because I figured I probably needed the walk too. I've been in the house for so long. It was about a mile and a half to the nearest funeral home. And I went and I made the arrangements. So that was hard. But I did reach out to my siblings and offer them, hey, on this day, I emailed them. And I said, if you want to come or if you want to have any input on it, I need to know before this date. And I didn't hear anything. So I ended up doing it by myself, just talking to my husband whenever I could, just for some kind of support, and made it work.
That's good that you breaking that up, because I think for some of us here who's listening, when my father-in-law passed in July, we came home and we went to start our own family funeral plans
Yeah.
because we didn't want our children to wrestle with some of those decisions. So we made it ahead of time.
Yeah, we did.
And that was actually an interesting conversations.
It was good.
It was good. It was good conversation to have.
Mhm.
And it's a funeral director we've known for a while, so that was good. But if you never had a relationship with a funeral director, that can be kind of challenging in and of itself. But we
Mhm.
Waters, you
it
never
was
said
it was picking out your own casket. That's
Mm.
that was a reality.
It is.
It was a reality.
Yeah.
And then come back and share with our children.
Yeah.
And each one
Mhm.
of them have the funeral plans.
Yeah.
So nobody will be surprised.
Yeah.
But
Exactly.
we sat with them and shared with them.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I was glad that my sister and I and my other sister, we were able to go and do the funeral arrangements. But my father my father and mother had a plan, so that was great. We just had to do some of the additional stuff because it was so long ago. Because
Right.
they have some new things that were added, but it's wonderful when you can have someone to support you and to be
Yeah.
there and not have to walk alone.
Yeah, and then we also try to think of what other expenses may be down the road that we may not be thinking
about.
Yeah.
So to be
Well,
extra for them.
Can I share one with you that I've learned the hard way doing this?
Yeah.
Okay, so mommy has a will, and which is great. And of course, you put in the will, yes, I want to be cremated. But again, like you said, you still have to go make the arrangements. Okay, where? Who does what? Well,
Right.
one of the things I've learned the hard way on the crash course that I received the hard way on this is about finances. So, are you familiar with a funeral trust?
Mm-mm.
Okay, most of us aren't. So, of course, a trust, there's different wills and trusts as a part of an estate planning. Now, a funeral trust, I'll say this because she was in New York. It allows you to make funeral arrangements, and the money that's involved in those funeral arrangements will not be considered for your long-term care.
Okay.
Only Medicaid, emphasis on aid, meaning low income,
Mhm.
will pay for your long-term care.
Okay.
Medicare will not pay for long-term care past 100 days.
Mm.
So if you do not have separate long-term care insurance, you
That's
will
good.
need eventually Medicaid. You will not qualify for Medicaid because of your assets, unless you put them into a trust.
Okay, that's good to know. That's good.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that. I'm sure people on here that's good for.
Yeah, this is a good conversation to have because we sometimes take things for granted. I'm retired military, so there's some benefits that I have, and she's a veteran as well. So there's some benefit for us. But however, those who are not military, that was good to know.
Oh yeah, like for us with military, we can get buried. We can even get buried at sea for free.
Yes. For the Navy, for your Navy, yeah. I won't be on the land,
right?
Put me in the ground.
Oh God.
For those don't know, Ayana is a Navy veteran, so
Yeah.
so Donna, I'm gonna be nice to her because her and her husband both Navy.
Please,
I won't crack no joke today.
Okay. Slide said a trust can be formulated by New York Life if anyone is looking for what she had just said. Thank you for sharing that.
He did insurance and stuff.
Oh, okay, wonderful.
Let me share with you about Slide.
Also, Navy Federal Credit Union is also having something right now. They're giving discounted wills and trusts right now as well.
All right.
Slide used to go up and down Texas selling insurance.
Okay.
And so he knows them back streets. Don't nobody driving him. He don't believe in highways.
But thank you for sharing that, Minister Reed. We appreciate it.
Yeah.
Okay, let me ask you this. What has surprised you the most about stepping into the role of a caregiver?
Like I said, the education on finances was huge. I did not expect any of that. I expected sadness, and that's what I expected, but it was so much more. I tell you, one thing that's changed for me is the definition of burden.
Ooh.
I don't define burden the same because after this, my mom used to always, and I hear a lot of people say, I don't want to be a burden to my family. I want to be a burden to my family. And then when it's time to have these conversations, oh, I don't want to talk about it because I'm uncomfortable.
Okay.
That
Yeah.
decision,
A lot of people, they're very uncomfortable. Yes.
exactly. Well, that decision to not do anything is a burden.
It is.
That's the burden right there.
I can agree
Because
with that.
all these decisions, all these things that we had to figure out or are made harder because she cannot be a part of the conversation has been a huge burden on my everything. And it doesn't mean I don't love her, but it's just, man, if we could have just been able to have this conversation, if that temporary discomfort would have been weighed against the actuality and the reality of what happens because we don't have things in place and because we didn't have this conversation and because we as a family did not work on our relationships. That is the true burden, right? Because I mean, heck,
so much right there. Oh my gosh.
yeah. I mean, being with her, I done become I guess I could put on my resume that I'm an LPN or something. I done learn how to do stuff. That is not in my ministry at all. Your girl, I do data and numbers and mental health. Next thing I know, I'm doing, I'm having to learn how to do surgical stuff and what have you. That I can do. But what I cannot do is fix your relationships. My mom had one person that was her true friend and still there.
Wow.
And that has been an eye opener. And I cannot read your mind, any of those things. And also, I will not anymore. I'm no longer available to be the punching bag for everybody else's emotional immaturity because they're sad. Oh, mom is doing this. So now I have to get the residuals, the collateral damage. There you go.
Yeah.
That's the burden.
That's such a great point to raise.
It is.
Because if the family, as you mentioned earlier on, is not functional, whatever that means for whoever's listening, now you got to try to navigate some choppy waters, right? Have those difficult conversations that nobody wants to have. Now it's too late. Yeah. It's on your lap. It's on your plate. And then there's you make a decision, and you're not going to please everybody.
Right.
You are not going to please everybody. Right. And it's I get it.
You should have seen me. I'm like the logistics alone. Hey, can you help me? Okay, is so and so there? No, so and so there. Okay, I can come and you can help me. I'll watch mommy. Okay, well, is so and so there? I mean, people. Really,
just work with me.
Yes.
And especially we can't even focus on, and I guess maybe it is whether it's because I'm the eldest or military. Like, can we focus on the what's important? This is about mommy. Period.
Right.
Yes. And that is such I still truly believe that you don't have to agree on everything, but can we agree on one thing, and that we love mama, we want the best.
Right.
Now, what that means from here on out, that's where the challenge is.
Right.
What compromises are you willing to make and not willing to make? Those are the things, and again, as a long distance caregiver, that's even more challenging because you're not there every single day. Yeah. But you got to make those decisions and those trips, airport trips. Yes. Oh Lord, those airport trips are something else. I remember when you was gone for almost 2 months. Yeah. Basically slept in the hospital.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah. Yep. Going home and showered and coming back again.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. I want to read this quote real quick for you guys that I thought it was amazing. This is from Roz Tandy. She owns Yam Care. Yam stands for You and Me. It's a nonprofit in Georgia supporting African American caregivers of people with Alzheimer's. She says people will either have previously been a caregiver, are now a caregiver, or will be a caregiver. People might have previously had needed a caregiver, now need a caregiver, or will need a caregiver in the future. Everyone walking the earth will fall into one or more of these categories before you get out of here.
Yes, I agree. One thing I miss, and I was sharing with a young student who was wants to become a doctor. So I asked her what type of doctor would she like to be. She said she's still undecided. Okay. But I remember living in smaller communities when the doctors lived in the community, right? And almost everybody, your teacher, my kindergarten and second grade teacher lived across the street. It was a community. And everybody knew everybody, and there was a natural built-in caregivership,
Okay.
right? That's the word, caregivership. If it is now,
All right.
It is.
Yeah, it's community. You're
Right.
coming together. It's a village.
And I remember as a child growing up, and I showed you, we had a big old field in the back of the yard. Everybody played, and one parent would come out and yell lunch, and she fed everybody. I didn't know they had a rotating roster. We just know we're going to eat, right? But the community came together to support each other. And I think sometimes when you move into the city care and move away from the smaller care, you know, most of us now we don't live in the areas we grew up in.
True.
And the close to the community is missing. It's missing. So forming caring communities is a challenge for the church, is a challenge for any community.
Yeah.
I think about when we first moved in this city.
Consistent.
When we first moved in this place, we knew almost all of our neighbors. Not today. Most of them moved out, sold their house, and new people in the area. It's challenging.
Absolutely.
Wow. Think about it when you're in the military, when you have that small community, it's
Man.
beautiful that you can just do that.
Somebody asked me the other day, what I miss most about the military? And I said, I miss the community because we became each other's family, especially overseas.
That's true. I have one of my colleagues. I just graduated from a leadership program yesterday. His parents are in this neighborhood, and I go check on them. You know, I told him he's gonna come up in there and see my pictures up in there because
there you go. That's it.
Because that's what I needed. Staying grounded. Staying grounded requires me to take. Well, I had to make friends with guilt. Me and guilt are good friends.
I like that. I like that.
We're cool. Because usually the guilt will never come from somebody who's actually done this stuff. No way. There's no way. Nobody who knows what it's like to, and I witnessed this from my clients, or I've seen this, or I've lived this. Nobody who knows what it's like to caregive somebody who can be harmful to themselves and to you, whatever going to give you grief about taking those breaks or not being there all the time or choosing you.
Right.
So right now, I know for me, one of the first personal guilt thoughts, I guess, that comes is, did I interfere with what God had for mommy by showing up? Because I know I don't like the facility she's in, but it took me 12 tries. And this was the 13th one that actually had room for her. This is what it was. Do I love it? Absolutely not. That's because I wanted better for her. I'm here in San Antonio. I worked in senior services. I know great facilities. This is part of what I do. But remember, she refused. So sometimes I can look at things of how much better it would have been if I was, if I did take her or what have you. And I had to make peace with that. Like, you know what? This was her decision. This was her choice. And maybe there's something else that I was supposed to get out of it. And that's what I did. I've been getting a lot of things from this that have enabled me to help others.
Beautiful.
That's good. That's good. I just had a conversation with my number 3. I number my brothers, number 1, number 2, number 3. So my number 3 brother and I was talking.
Yeah, I
think that's where I got it from.
I said you got that from my mom.
Anyway, but we were talking about my mother and long-term caregiving, what that would mean. So we know if something happens to my dad, where will mama have to be? So she can't stay by herself.
Right.
And we're trying to get my dad to make some early decisions before that time happens.
Right.
Because she's going to need some better care. For those who don't know, she lives in the Caribbean, and she's going to need some better care.
Yeah.
So pushing them gently to make those decisions by dropping the questions. So he was saying we might need to go home and have the conversation with him in person, which I think really, with my dad knowing him, that's where it needs to be. Over the phone, it's good, but he can disengage anytime he wants to. But I think in face-to-face, it's going to be the challenge. And when is a good time to do that? I don't know when a good time is. There's never a really good time.
You just have to make time.
Create the time. Yeah.
And the best time was yesterday.
Yeah.
There you go.
But there are tools. So I know just because of the time, I'm going to run through a couple of
Okay,
tools
please.
in case. Okay.
Go for it.
One of my favorite websites to this day is AARP. There is
Yes.
so much. They even have conversation starter, like a deck of cards for conversation starters for having these conversations. On my YouTube channel, and I'll share that later. I was blessed to be able to find a geriatric care manager. She was a social worker. That was huge because she's the one who has definitely taught me what I need to do, especially long distance. She's the one who taught me about, and a geriatric care manager is a licensed professional who helps older adults and their families plan and coordinate care. They're really helpful, especially for long distance. Remember, I work here in senior services, so
Yeah.
I know. First of all, San Antonio, we have some of the best senior centers I've ever seen, and we need to start using them. It is free food, free resources, but the information, Medicare representatives come to you. I mean, it is ideal for so many. That's how I learned about WellMed's Caregiver SOS program, which I used immediately. You get personalized coaching for being a caregiver for free. All those things, and then plus the support groups. All of these end up being or having some kind of support group, because if it wasn't for my friends, shout out to Strauss Street Brooklyn. I mean, they showed up. To help me stay sane. They started playing cards every Friday at night just so I can come outside, because I was in the house.
Yes.
You know, just stuff like that. Playing music, bringing food. All my friends, Charlene, Jamel, Jennifer, when it came to signing the papers, we had to go to mom's hospital. We needed witnesses. My friends from back home showed up to be the witness so mom's power of attorney and the will and the trust could be done. So those are also assets. Let me give you one more. This is one I was really excited to tell you. I'm lying. It's going to be two more. This is what I like to do. I didn't tell you who I am. This is what I do. I love this. So there is an organization called Alter Dementia, ALTERDEMENTIA. They are focused on creating inclusive congregations. So they partner with churches to help make them dementia friendly. They do that by having brain health activities, caregiver support, resources, and education workshops. And they'll talk to you about what it takes to do that. It is amazing. Because like I said, my mom has that one friend that she had met through church. Where everybody else at?
Wow.
And I'm not saying that they're bad people. What I am saying is a lot of people get uncomfortable with things they don't know how to deal with. So what if we educated them about it? The last resource, and this is a shameless shout out, is I wrote a book. This book is coming out this week. It's a children's book with the goal to encourage Black and Brown communities to start thinking about estate planning. It's based off of what I just learned the hard way on how having these things in writing could decrease the conflict and make it so that we're spending more time with our loved ones instead of time either trying to avoid each other or avoid the anticipatory grief, and instead focus on just loving on them and taking advantage of the time we do have.
Ayana, as you were sharing that, if you have time, put all that in the chat, because as you shared that, some people didn't write that down, but they'll be able to see that and they can take a picture of it. So if you would please share that information in the chat. That's beautiful. Congratulations on your book.
Yes.
Thank you.
We you know that you talked about the dementia care and making churches dementia friendly.
We have somebody coming on the Zoom talking about
what I was going to say.
dementia.
We're trying to be a relevant church and trying to think about all of these things. That is now a reality.
Yes.
It's a reality. And we have to be relevant for those who are facing that challenge. I know I'm one of those, but I'm not the only one that's facing those challenges. And we can no longer sit on the sidelines.
Right.
It's time for us to roll up our sleeves. And, you know, when we talked about, so I don't know if Donna shared with you, in our church, every third Now this sounds like a shameful plug too. Every third Sunday is our Wellness Sunday, where we try to bring in speakers or raise topics about mental wellness,
Yeah.
right? And so one of the topics we will be covering is dementia and Alzheimer's.
Yeah.
But man, the list is goes on, and we can and it's you need the warriors
You do.
who can endure, because it's not a one and done thing. It's going to be ongoing. It's going to be challenges, navigating the challenges.
Yeah.
What you just said, some of the challenges you face, you're helping others to learn how to navigate even some things that we haven't faced yet. As you mentioned, the 3 categories. When it happens, we'll say, oh my God, I remember, I don't know where I could, let me go back and watch the broadcast and pick out some of these things. The fact that this is going to be out there for others to listen and to glean some important information is great. I want to thank you for that. Even though you're going through your own challenges, sitting down and putting a pen to paper and writing that book.
All right, I see.
Yes.
Carrie Ann, thank you. We'll show the information. And Pastor Jeff, thank you. I'm gonna put this right here. It's the website.
Yeah, what I can do, Bishop and Overseer Alexander, is I can make a list of these. I will probably go back into Facebook to answer the questions because I'm not sure how to do that right now. I will access to my channels and ways to get in touch with me, but then maybe I'll just write these into a nice little list. To get up in there for you. Is it okay if I share another quote that I thought was absolutely amazing?
Okay.
It's from a caregiver. This is actress Yvette Nicole Brown, and this is what helped me be okay with the guilt of not being there every day, and to the point I actually hired somebody to check on mom for me, who sends me pictures, etc. This is for me.
Yeah.
She said a social worker asked her, as she was caring for her father who has Alzheimer's, is your time better spent with your father as his nurse or as his daughter?
Mm.
The guilt is a coat I put on every morning. I walk with it.
Wow.
But it's not something that my dad would want me to wear. If he was in his right mind right now and did not have dementia, he would say, baby, live. So I'm living for me and for him. I'm doing it in a way where I'm still honoring him and still caring for him, but I'm doing what he would want me to do because he would want me to also have a life.
Yeah.
That is what I want people to leave there with. Please go on your vacations. Please understand it's hard and it's scary, and that you can actually, instead of focusing on that, you can actually use that time to honor instead of being stuck in time with what could be happening tomorrow. So finish your school, still go on your vacations. It is okay to still have fun.
Yeah.
And protect your legacy.
Yes.
That is so good.
That is really good. I love that. That was a great quote. I never thought about it in those terms, but I love that quote. And yes, you put on that guilt every day.
Yeah.
That's a coat. That's
And,
coat you
and
wear.
some people don't want their help. They want their assistance. But there's 10 tips, and I won't share all of them. But it just says you got to seek support from other caregivers, and you're doing that, and you're not alone. Take care of your own health so that you can be strong enough to take care of your loved ones.
That's an input.
Yeah. Put your
safety.
oxygen first before you put it on somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
Accept offers of help and suggest specific things people can do to help you. A lot of people don't want to share that, but if you're willing, please allow people to do that. Learn how to communicate effectively with the doctors, caregivers.
Back up for a moment.
Which one?
Communicate effectively with the doctors. I remember when we were going through, and I use the word we, going through your colleges, and we took in Pastor Claudette Copeland with us because she had been through that journey.
She knew the language.
And she knew the language. We were newcomers to this thing, right? So we had her in the doctor's appointment with us. So she was actually translating it back to us. Right. Or she'd say, doctor, slow that down. You know what you just said. I know what you just said. They don't.
Right.
Right. And so maybe sometime to effectively communicate with doctors, you might need an advocate in there with you, because we surely didn't know what he was saying at the time.
That's
Yeah.
right.
Okay,
And that's what
awesome.
those geriatric care managers are
Yeah.
something that you can ask for. Absolutely.
That's good.
Yeah.
You want to share some more?
It's up to you.
Let me share one more. Caregivers is caregiving is hard work to take the respite breaks often. So I say to you, as you do, continue to take your breaks, continue to enjoy your family and your husband, continue to do, and God strengthen you as you are caregiving in New York, because it's not easy as you said, but take care of you, that you be strengthened to continue to do for mom what needs to be done. Thank you, Rose, for it's also been often where the sole responsibility falls on one person, even though there's others that can also support. We've seen several people with that.
Mhm.
So
Remember, I'm a gallon. I'm a
Yeah.
gallon.
Thank God
Yeah.
for the gap.
I mean, it is what it is.
Yeah.
They might be shot glasses, but
Yeah.
I'm a gallon.
But a gallon needs to be refilled every now and again.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's-
Because I became an empty gallon, right?
Yeah.
Right. You guys get everybody else gets the overflow of this gallon.
Right.
You know, I'm going to use this as an analogy, but it's come from scripture. When the woman at the well,
Right.
right? There's one part that we often breeze past it. She comes to the well with and the King James said empty vessel.
Mhm.
Some said empty bucket, whatever what that is. But actually, she comes in contact with Jesus.
Yeah.
She leaves the empty vessel there and then goes back. So I say that to say this: many of us are empty vessels until we find some place where we can be fulfilled, refilled, and refilled and refilled. This is not on one and done. So
Yeah.
having a great support system around you, family members, like I'm so glad you said you have a beautiful husband and he's supporting you.
Yeah,
So that's
your friends.
that's one part of the
Yeah,
battle.
it is.
Yeah, I had a lot. He's my gift for real.
All
Oh my
right.
God. There's no way. No way.
But
could do
I
this
would
alone.
love to meet your husband one day.
Yeah.
We're
You know,
gonna
he's in
go
the Navy too. Is that okay? You know that he's part.
Well, you know
that's
what?
good, that's good.
I would look past that. It would be hard, but I would look past it.
Okay.
We are going to go into our words of wisdom. This conversation is rich because we find so many people today in this situation. I think of Overseer Gilbert. You probably watch this later. Her mom is in long-term care, and she's been in on hospice for over 3 years.
Yeah.
And you know, and she has an up and down part, but God has given her strength as she's been the caregiver. So it's not easy. It wears on you. It really does. But we thank God and we pray for you. We're going to be lifting you up because it's not easy to be a caregiver. And we appreciate you. We honor you. Remember, this is National Family Caregivers Month, and it should be all the time. But if you see a caregiver, and y'all do me a favor in the chat, just say thank you to caregivers. Say thank you to
If you
Ayana.
know some caregivers,
Put their names in there.
in
Put their names in there. Shout out to the caregivers. We want to acknowledge them because what they're doing makes a difference in the lives of the people that they're caring for. So we're gonna do words of wisdom.
I'm gonna go off first.
Okay, go ahead, start off, sir.
My words of wisdom just actually popped in my head is a quote from this book that I'm reading.
Canoeing the Mountain.
It's Canoeing the Mountain by Todd Bollinger. And there's a part he says, people won't trust you off the map till they can trust you on the map. And I like that quote because you are showing that you are navigating some off the map issues, but your family's trusting you because somewhere along the line, somewhere in your DNA, they show that I think your mama saw that you were a trusted one.
Yeah.
So they can trust you off the map when they could trust you on the map.
Yeah,
So that is it's so good to have that type of trust, even though you didn't ask for it. I think your mama saw a long way into this and said, I need somebody who the family can trust. And you are definitely a trusted one.
Praise God. All right. Sister Ayana, if you would share some words of wisdom, and then I just put in the chat that she gave us. If you want to nominate a caregiver for an award, you can go to that link and nominate a caregiver.
Did we see how we can get the book?
Oh, and you'll give us how to give a book as well to get your book. Somebody asked about your book.
Yes, I will do that. I'll just put my website and then stuff is coming, right?
Okay.
Bear with me.
your time.
And Sly, you know what? You can't make your mind up. Are you gonna be Army or you gonna be Marine? You can't. You just come on, make your mind up, man. I know you got support today with the Navy, but hey, you're gonna be one of us or one of them. That's one or the other.
I'm gonna do words of wisdom as she's doing that, and then we'll let you close out with words of wisdom. Ayana and Bishop, you want me to pray out, or you want to? Okay, yes, you did. I got you. So my words of wisdom for all of those who are on. I want to shout out to caregivers. My sister was a caregiver to my mother and to my father. It is a beautiful thing. When I went home, I had opportunity to do that. The opportunity to clean and wash my dad, to bathe him, to shave him, to wash his head and put the warm water on his face. The joy that it brings is nothing like it. It's not easy work lifting and turning and lifting and cleaning, but it's, if you have the opportunity to do it, ask God to give you the grace and the peace and the joy of being able to get back to the parent who treated you so well as a child. And I pray that they did. I was blessed to have good parents. So it was wonderful for me whenever I had opportunity to be able to minister to my parents in that way.
I have to put this as a funny. My father-in-law, I just call him Daddy. He loved to have his face washed.
Yeah.
And so the warm cloth, she would say, "Wash my face."
He would say that. Yes, he would. Love it. He would just yell it out. Yeah, little things. So, you have any words of wisdom?
Oh, more. I think I'm out. I think I've shared so much already. I was serious about, like you said, refilling yourself. Again, make friends with the guilt, and just love on them. But and let's use whatever they're teaching us, whether it's something that we want to happen or don't happen. Let's use that. Let's do better.
Oh, love it.
Let's do better. Let's learn from our ancestors. My mom didn't take care of her parents before they passed. Other siblings did. She did not know. My dad didn't know either. They had other siblings that did this. So how I'm honoring her is trying to do better. So I made sure that we have trusts, and I put stuff in the trust to protect my kids, even from me. Because let's be real, if she could get that Alzheimer's or be on dementia, that spectrum, genetically, so can I. So what am I doing to protect them so I'm not a burden? For me, it is to even write a letter to myself in advance, letting me know that, look, either they're going to, and letting them know that this is my decision, that if I am under the influence of dementia, I want you have my full blessing for me to be in the facility, because I do not want to hurt you.
That's beautiful. That's not an easy thing to do. Some people were saying, Pastor Carmen, thank you, Ayana. I have been thinking about how to not be a burden to my family, and you have given me some thoughts of how to start the conversation. Those hard conversations, and that's what we deal with our wellness. Mm-hmm. Wherever you are, for those who are watching, if you're in your church, in your community, or with your children, have those hard conversations. Do they make you cry sometimes because you're talking about death, you're talking about a will, and you don't want to never, mm-hmm. But we are appointed, once a man is to die, we're going to be here for a journey, and then mm-hmm. we won't be here. So we want to make sure everybody's prepared. So I say thank you to everyone who has joined us. Ayana, you are a wealth of knowledge. Thank you for your sharing your journey and not mind sharing it. Thank you so much for being real and open and transparent. We're going to pray. Next week, we're going to be meeting. For those, we're going to be talking about focus on the family. We'll have Donna and her husband, Jay, and we're going to be talking about family and dealing with ADHD and whatever thing else comes up in the family. So, Father God, we thank you. We thank you for this time today. We thank you for Ayana and her family, her mom and her siblings, God. We thank you for her family, for any of those who are caregivers. We honor and we celebrate them. We thank you for our loved ones. Ask you to continue to bring healing, health, and wholeness. God, provide financially, God, emotionally, mentally for them. We ask you to, those who are needing to start those hard conversations, that you'll be in the midst, that they would have an ear to hear. God, that they would make out their wills ahead of time, their trust, their plans, God. We thank you right now for this word has gone forth and it will touch people who we may never know. But I thank you that it's touching lives and opening up lives to say, you know what, I need to do better. And we thank you for that in advance. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Amen. Great. We thank you so much for everybody
Yes.
joining us. Join us next week, same time, 6
Amen.
o'clock p.m. next Sunday. God bless you. I am
Thank you.
Overseer M. Alexander.
Bishop Trevor Alexander.
Yeah, and our guest, Ayana. Thank you
Ayana
for
Brown.
being with us so
Amen.
much.
Thank you. Thank you very